All of us at one point or another have repressed emotions. We're not really taught growing up what to do with past painful memories. We're not taught how to handle our emotions in times of crisis. So our body will naturally go to ways to escape, to ways to repress, to ways to distract ourselves from feeling things that we are uncomfortable with. But if we don't stay conscious when those things are happening, eventually we will develop this habit of repressing. And that habit of repression will then turn into walling ourselves off from emotions completely. Once we start suppressing emotions out of habit, it begins to become our autopilot response. Not only will that autopilot response disconnect us from other people, it also poses serious health risks to us later on as time goes by. Yo, it's your friendly neighborhood knucklehead, and in this video, I'm gonna talk about 3 steps that we can take to improve our emotional well-being and also our physical health. Now, growing up, we're really taught to just get through the day. We're taught that we have to fulfill responsibilities no matter what. We gotta wake up, we gotta go to school, we gotta eat breakfast no matter what we are feeling. So it starts to ingrain this thing into us that our emotions don't matter and we just need to fulfill what we're obligated to fulfill. Now, after all of those years of school, going from a kid to an adult, what it really teaches us is that we need to repress our emotions in order to survive, in order to get through the day. This is also something that's programmed especially into young boys, because if boys are crying, they're seen as weak. When boys grow up to be men and they're seen as emotional, a lot of people will really judge them on it. A lot of people even judge men going to therapy as a sign of weakness. But we're seeing now the importance of taking care of our physical and mental well-being and how that even leads to longer lifespans, because generations of people are living longer and longer and longer. And Sister Shivani was the first person I heard talk about us needing to take care of our emotional immune system like we take care of our physical immune system. That means knowing what things are good for us and bad for us on an emotional level as well as on a physical level, like what foods are good for us and bad for us, what exercises are good for us, the same kinds of activities and things that we can do to promote physical health. We need to learn how to do that for our emotional and mental health as well. There's a study done a little while ago where they took 3 groups of people and they wanted to measure their performance of shooting a basketball. They took one group that didn't practice basketball at all. They took another group that practiced like 1 hour a day on the court. And then they took the third group that took 1 hour a day just visualizing and thinking about practicing basketball. And what they found was the group that didn't practice at all didn't get any better. The other 2 groups that practiced mentally and practiced physically had the same like 24% increase of shots made. So this just proves that our mental preparation is just as important as our physical. So the first step that we can take to become more emotionally healthy and develop a stronger emotional immune system is to start to become aware of how we are feeling. Now, the best way to start doing this is in the morning when we wake up and at night. That will get us in this idea throughout the day of keeping in mind how we're feeling. And once we start racking up the days, morning and night, checking in with ourselves, putting our focus internally on how we're feeling, it can then become a different autopilot response throughout the day. Now for me, I'm just starting to get into this habit now where I am putting the focus internally when I'm not actively in a task. When I sit down to eat, when I'm brushing my teeth, when I'm going to the bathroom, when I have those moments throughout the day where I'm not totally invested in something, I will take those moments to put my focus internally and put my attention back on my emotional state. Now, some of us have really busy minds. It's going to be hard to do that. But I want you to understand that behind those clouds of thoughts is an emotion that those thoughts are coming from. So when you put that focus internally and you're starting to have these thoughts come up, ask yourself, what emotion are these thoughts coming from? We have to be able to identify these thoughts, to verbalize them, to understand them. And this first step here of just becoming aware of our emotional state is the biggest step of becoming more emotionally available for other people and also just expanding our emotional awareness. Now, the second step here is that things are going to start coming up. Things that we've suppressed in the past are going to start coming up, like memories or things like that. And also a whole bunch of thoughts coming from our ego are going to start coming up. And this is our opportunity to rewire our autopilot response of distracting, of suppressing, of running away from this altogether. This is our chance to allow those things to come up and be able to properly deal with them. And we have to deal with those memories the same way we're dealing with those thoughts. We have to get to the emotion behind it. What is that memory trying to get us to feel? And this is where it gets kind of tricky, but it's incredibly simple, because if we truly allow ourselves to feel that emotion, if we truly have the intention of wanting to get to the emotion behind this memory, it will come up. But a lot of us still will have this bad habit of not allowing ourselves to feel that emotion. So it's very important that we recognize that this is a process, and this rewiring process is going to take day after day, weeks. So it's important that we understand that this is a process. Rewiring the years of our upbringing and programming is not going to happen overnight. We have to start slowly chipping away to rewire our emotional awareness and our emotional responses. And that's going to bring me to the last step of this process, which is surrendering to that emotion. Let yourself feel the pain. Let yourself feel the embarrassment. Let yourself feel the shame, the guilt, the anger, the sadness. Let it happen and let it go. Tell those past memories that you don't need to hold on to them anymore. That's what we need to let go of, because these things are weight. They are weight that holds us down, holds us back, anchors us to that past version of who we are, and prevents us from getting into the new version. And again, this is a process. It could take days, weeks, months of this letting go technique. It could take years to really get over the things that have been suppressed in the past. But once it becomes a part of our daily routine, it then becomes easier to deal with other things that are coming up in the present. Once we have this habit of taking some time in the morning, taking some time at night, taking some time throughout the day to notice our emotions, allow them to pass through us and let them go, we will begin to become a more peaceful person, a more enlightened person, a more magnetic and attractive person for other people, because we now have space for other people to be involved with us. We're not walled off and preventing people from getting too close. We are inviting. We know how to deal with emotional distress. We're not scared of it anymore. And this is just going to elevate us in all areas of our life. It's going to improve our mental health. It's going to improve our physical health. There's stories from time and time again of people doing a very similar process and getting rid of cancer, getting rid of, told that they're not able to walk ever again. And through doing this kinds of stuff, they're able to stand up and start going to physical therapy. This kind of emotional practice teaches our bodies to heal. And once we start the process of healing, we can continue to heal as time goes on. Now, along with checking in on yourself and your own emotional state, another powerful thing is checking in with other people. And for that, I have an email list pinned in the comments where you can receive a monthly check-in with me and what I've been able to overcome, and just sharing the things that I've been learning in the past month to hopefully add value to what you're going through as well. Aside from all that, if you dig this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe. And the next video, I'm going to be talking about how to handle emotional crisis, how to handle this letting go technique when it feels like the sky is falling and we're going through something that is just so incredibly stressful. So keep an eye on this playlist up here, which is my artistic advice and awareness playlist, where all this stuff is going to live. Thanks for watching and stay creative.